morning. Good morning. How is everybody today? It is Monday morning. Woohoo! I have so much to do. I'm like at day 48 before Great Western War. And that doesn't seem like a lot of days. I'm starting to panic just a little bit. But this week, right now, I don't have a whole lot going on. So, in theory, if I go to bed early, I get up early, I can use the cool part of the day. That did not happen today. I went to bed early, but I think I'm still paying for Saturday. And then, because I don't realize how much energy it takes to do things. I just struggle bus central with that. I don't know if anybody else struggles with that, but I just don't always know how much energy it's going to take to do something. I just don't. I don't always gauge that correctly. Anyway, so I listed out all the things I did yesterday, and then I went to bed and I slept, and I had a horrible nightmare about a past employer. Not my most recent past employer, but an employer I had a couple years ago who was a bully. He was really mean and made sexual innuendos, and it was bad. Anyway, that was a while ago, but I, out of nowhere, had a nightmare about it. And I'm working on new moon release stuff, and all of it has to do with work and overcommitting myself and not knowing necessarily always how to create my own boundaries and how to be okay with that and how to release that negative stuff, right? And I think that's why the dream bubbled up. Also, randomly, I think I've brought him up a couple times in conversation because it's related to a pattern that I have, right? So, anyway, horrible nightmare. And then I read my list from yesterday and I realized I did it again. I did too much. So Saturday we traveled, and then Sunday I did rest, but as I'm resting, I also did a whole bunch of handwork. And then when I got done with the handwork, I did cooking things, and I did meal prep for the week. And then I did, I didn't stop. And then it was 8:00 and I was tanked. And I was like, why am I so tired? Really? Yeah, I did that. I do it all the time. I need to get better about managing that before it gets to the point where I'm so exhausted that all I can do is sit and stare at the wall. But I know part of what's happening is 48 days to Great Western War. So I'm kind of in a hype of energy at the same time that I'm trying to recover from being really sick. I don't think I'm 100% recovered because I know I'm exhausted, and yet I still have all this stuff to do. And it doesn't help that because I'm not working full time, I feel obligated. I need to clean the house and take the recycling out and clean bathrooms and do stuff that probably just doesn't sound like a big deal to other people. But those things are a big deal for me. They take energy. And I'm not 22 with a small kid anymore, having the energy of 3 of me, which is really, I think, the only reason I got through raising kids on my own. So today, I'm pulling this from the Wiccan Book of Days, which I love this book. I have had this book 20-something years, and I realized this morning that I still have never broke the back on it. I peek into it. I love it so much. I'm afraid to just destroy the book. You know, these glue binding books, once you break the back, they have a tendency to start falling apart. And this glue is 20 years old, so Anyway, today in history, woohoo, is the Festival of Vesta. The ancient goddess of the hearth was honored annually on this date in ancient times. Many modern witches light 6 candles and cast herbs into a hearth fire on this day to honor Vesta, to receive her blessings for family and home. And I thought it would be really cool today for me to focus on the goddess Vesta. She was one that I did a lot of research on her back when I was really studying Greek and Roman culture. I had a blip in time when my son Thor was really into Greek and Roman mythology, and to make myself feel like I was closer to him, because he wasn't living with me at the time, I studied them too, because I wanted to feel like I was closer to him. And I know that he probably doesn't know that, doesn't care, but it doesn't matter. It made me feel better. Anyway, I thought today would be a good day to kind of focus on family and home, and then I want to vacuum, and I want to do some cleaning, and I have to take the recycling out. I want to clean a bathroom, and I want to do some stuff that I think today would be the day to do it. We're in new moon, so cleaning out old things is kind of part of that new moon energy. Or we're going into the dark of the moon, new moon energy. And I really love how, I've said this before, but if I follow kind of the rhythm of the moon, I feel better. I feel like I'm accomplishing more. I feel like I'm using the energy of the world around me to help me do the things that I need. It also makes me feel like I'm connecting to my ancestors, because our ancestors did things along with the seasons and the moon, and they paid attention to the world around them. And when I do that, I feel better. I still have to stamp, and I'm going to have to do that in an early morning. I was going to do it this morning, but then I woke up later, and I'm like, okay, stamping is going to be tomorrow. Like, I know that I have intentions of doing things sometimes, but I think I also need to follow the rhythms of what feels right. I know that I'll get them done. I have plenty to do. It's not like I'm going to run out of stuff to do and be bored. I have a whole thing of beading here I've got to do too. And then today, I'm also reading from Earth Warrior, because we're still on the card Alako, Spirit of the Warrior. I love this. If you try to repress the bold, dynamic vitality of the spirit warrior within, it cannot function as it's meant to, and it does become distorted. Distorted warrior energy could include symptoms and signs of cold judgment, scathing criticism towards yourself and others, self-sabotaging, self-harming, violent dreams, feeling if one's hands are tied, needing to do something to get feeling back. If joy isn't cultivated, the warrior energy becomes dark and coercive, where the despair leads to the loss of integrity, and the loss of integrity leads to behaviors that the ends justify the means. A true spirit warrior eschews spiritual lawlessness. They have compassion for all people, especially those tainted by the forces of hate. They know that it is lower consciousness that they are fighting against, that the people damaged by it are in need of spiritual truth and fierce compassion. A warrior tries to fight from a place of despair and darkness, doubt and hate, the battle will become destructive to their soul. When you fight for love from a place of peace and joy, the battle opens your fierce heart. It uplifts your mind and empowers your soul with the divine grace that accomplishes all pursuits and wins the war. You know, something my counselor said not very long ago to me was, I think you're giving them too much compassion. I think you're giving them too much grace. Speaking of my past employers. And I can totally see that perspective, and I totally needed to hear that in that moment, because she was right. I was giving them too much power, right? But the other side of it is, I function better from the place of understanding compassion for all people. I really, truly believe that if you can look at your world with compassion and understanding and grace and allow people to fill their space the way they need to, you're fulfilling your purpose, both for them trying to find their own grace and their own place in the world. You are giving them that space to do it, but also giving them back love and compassion, even when they're not giving it to you, is okay. You do still have to create boundaries, and I'm really bad about the boundaries. I have a really hard time doing that. And I know that, and I'm working on it, right? But we all work on different things. Some of us, I grew up with somebody who was very, very, very hateful and negative, and the default setting was bitterness and criticism and very hateful, mean words all the time. In modern psychology, that would be called emotional and verbal abuse, right? But I'm still very torn about that in my life, and I have not been able to forgive, because that took years and years and years to work through. But I also went the complete other direction of, that person treated me so horribly, I refused to pass that energy on to other people. I was so worried about becoming a good parent that I took tons of child psychology and early education classes, not because I had any intention of becoming an elementary school teacher. I don't. But because I wanted to know how the brain worked, and I wanted to be a better parent to my children. We all do things to find our place in the world, and we do things to help us be our own spiritual warrior. And, I really think that this is important. A spirit warrior cannot function properly without love and compassion for people. Spirit warriors recognize if somebody comes at you from a bad place, they recognize, oh wait, that's just coming from a different vibrational consciousness. That's just where they are. Okay, this is my boundary for them. And you create that boundary, and you still let them live their life. You're not going to let them hurt people, but you're going to let them live their life. And you don't know what their blueprint is. Maybe they have an antagonistic blueprint, and everybody they meet creates this thing. That is a life theme. There are antagonistic life themes, right? And sometimes you just have to go, okay, that's just okay. You're going to be an irritant. Good to know. I don't need that right now. I'm going to go over here and play in my own sandbox. Anyway, I had a great weekend. I hope everybody else had a great weekend. To all of those, I want a special shout out to Dakota. You are so sweet. Thank you. And a special shout out to Colleen. I am so sorry, Colleen. You said something and it really triggered a very visceral response with me, and I kind of walked away, and I am so sorry. It's not against you at all. I would just say watch your back. Just saying. But thank you, both of you, very much for your kind words. And it's been a while since I've been to an SCA event, and I really didn't know what was happening when I first walked up to the gate, because people seemed really excited, and I didn't know if I didn't for sure know what was going on, but I do understand that everybody was very excited to see me, and I was very excited to see everybody else, and I was very grateful that I was allowed to kind of be at an event and still kind of like dip my toe into the social pool of, okay, I'm going to do this, and still not be overwhelmed. And it was amazing. And I thank all of you very much for that. Some of you watch these, some of you don't, but I really appreciate it. It was a lot. But I got to get ready because Great Western War is in 48 days. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I just keep telling myself that. We are taking our yurt, so I will have a place to retreat. And it'll be fine. It's been a while and I'm still physically in recovery. I have one more blood draw this week and we're hoping my elevated levels will be down. So I'm putting my hands together with positive energy. I've been doing my tuning forks pretty much every day. I missed Saturday and Sunday, so I did my tuning fork this morning. I have been drinking my charged water. I have been doing my tuning forks. I have been doing my rituals. I've been getting back into my moon cycle stuff. I'm working on my manuscript. I'm doing daily devotionals. So I'm doing all of the things I know to trigger my physical body to go, it's safe, it's okay, you can get better, you can release the inflammatory markers that are causing the labs to go crazy and the doctors to rub their hands together and worry. I'm hoping. Anyway, so I go do a blood draw this afternoon. I'm gonna do some cleaning this morning, and I have my manuscripts for my next 2 YouTube videos written. I'm gonna do a controversial one. Opinion read is coming out. I don't know if that's good or not, but I have things to say. I have opinions. Anyway, have a beautiful day, my lovely friends, and I do wish you a beautiful, sunny, stay cool day. It's gonna be great, and then I will see you tomorrow in prayer. And thank you so much for joining Daily Devotions. I really do I know that these help me, and I do them because I hope that as a community we can help each other. Sometimes you just need a little bit of extra bump. You need to know that you're not alone. And I've spent almost 50 years of my life feeling very isolated in much of it. And I really, really understand the need to feel like you belong. And you do. You belong. Blessed be. See you tomorrow in prayer.